Hey everybody, Christopher D. Connors here. Welcome to episode 5 of Becoming a Champion, and today is entitled How to Build Your Life Around What is Most Important to You. So we begin today, and I wanted to share this quote. I came across this quote just in the last couple of weeks, and it's from one of my all-time favorite authors, the great C.S. Lewis. And the quote is a little bit more specific to being a parent, to raising children, but there's a lot of interpretation, just as there is with all of C.S. Lewis's work. There's a lot of interpretation in here for you in terms of how you can apply it to the exact situation that you're in life. And he said, children are not a distraction from more important work. They are the most important work. And in the end, it's legacy that matters. It's what you build. It's what you choose to be most important in your life. So the quote again was, children are not a distraction from more important work. They are the most important work. And I can tell you, as the father of 3 young children, they are indeed. And they're not just a peripheral part of my day. They're my everything. They're my heart and soul. And raising them is the greatest responsibility that I have in my life, but it's also the greatest joy. And I ask you to think about wherever you are today in life, begin to build a list of what is most important to you, whether that is current or whether it's aspirational. So let me rewind a second, because no matter what phase you're in your life, whether you're a high school student, college student, young professional, maybe you're a brand new manager, maybe you're a leader, this reevaluation of your most important people, places, things, priorities, whatever they may be, whatever truly means the most to you, being able to revisit that, to bring it front and center, and to reevaluate it on a regular basis is one of the biggest keys to becoming a champion. It's one of the biggest keys to success as an individual and as a leader. It's something that I did in my own career and in my life when I was approaching my late 20s. And as I like to joke about, I lived in a luxury apartment complex. I was driving a luxury car, had a great luxury job, if you will, in the management consulting world, and had a then luxury girlfriend who became my wife. I kid, of course, with all of that. But, you know, I really had, I think, optically to what most people would see from the outside, a really, really wonderful life. But I knew that there were things that were missing. And the word that always comes to mind for me was there was a fulfilling aspect of what I knew my life and my career could be that wasn't there. I had a great job in the consulting world. I, in a lot of ways, loved the clients that I worked with. I had a nice salary. I was able to drive a nice car, and I lived in a nice place. And yes, I had certainly surrounded myself with the woman who was my girlfriend, who would become my wife. And I had some great friends, but I knew deep down inside that calling to want to give back and give more to my community, to be able to help people, and to really be able to use my time, talent, and treasure to be able to make the greatest impact that I could on this world. I was more focused on that time doing other things than I was on people. And I knew that I wanted people to become my life's work. So I sat down, and even at that time, it was serving my clients as well as I could. But I began to write more aspirationally, and that's the key. Depending on where you are today, I think it's great to have a right now where you are list of this is exactly what I hope to accomplish. These are the most important things that I want to have in my life in the present. But the aspirational list is for the future. And that could be accomplished through aspirational goals. It could be accomplished by putting together a longer term plan, something like a 6-month or 1 year, 3 year, or even a 5-year plan. And I'll get back to that in a little bit. But beginning to plan those things out, I said at that time in my late 20s that I wanted to be able to write a book. And I sit here today before you. I've written 3 books: The Champion Leader, Emotional Intelligence for the Modern Leader, and The Value of You. I've also created a LinkedIn learning course called Leading with Emotional Intelligence. And I've gone on to write a lot of articles, a lot of posts, and I've created a lot of videos. I've started this podcast, and a lot of my creativity has been able to give back to the world in the form of emotional intelligence, personal development, and leadership development. I said that I wanted to get married and I wanted to have children, and God has blessed me with a wonderful wife with 3 amazing young sons that are truly the joy of my life. And that kind of ties back to where we started with that C.S. Lewis quote. And I knew that I wanted to be doing something more entrepreneurially. I knew that I wanted to be working on my own and giving more of that gift back to the world in terms of helping people, in terms of living in a place that I wanted to live. And ultimately, our family moved to the Charleston, South Carolina area, and we love living here. We love being a part of this community. I cannot stress how important it is to speak and write those dreams over your life. The more that you speak and write and communicate these dreams over your life, and the more that you do it from a place of passion, the more likely that those things are going to continue to become a reality in your life. And that when those opportunities do present themselves, you're going to do them really, really well. I think of something even as recently, just last week, I was honored here in the community, in the town that I live in, as the Volunteer of the Year for coaching youth baseball. And I took on the incredible responsibility and yet honor of coaching my two oldest sons in baseball. And it was one of the most joyful, fulfilling, rewarding, and instructive experiences of my life. And it's just a big part of who I am. And while I guess they could have given that award to anybody, I know that I put my heart and soul into it. And I think a lot of people that knew me knew I gave it everything that I had, because I love helping young people to fulfill their goals. I do that professionally. I do it on a volunteer basis. I work with schools, universities. I work with all kinds of athletics organizations and clients. I love helping any individual to build character, to learn the life skills of emotional intelligence and personal development. That is something that's in my heart and up here, and it's a part of my mission to really help the world to become a better place and to help to build thriving communities. So there's no coincidence that I brought out the best of myself, because that was something that I dedicated myself to. So again, I ask you to begin with where you are today. And even if you're finding yourself right now in a leadership role, or even if you're at an organization which may not be that ideal final stop that you think you want to be on in your own personal or professional career, I ask you to think about, what does doing the absolute best that you can be, and what is most important about where you are, who you're serving, how you can be having an impact. What is most important about that, and how you can achieve it? Because it's not just about thinking of the destination that you have to get to. It's the journey that you're already on currently. And then depending on whenever you decide to shift course, if you are looking to shift course more aspirationally to getting somewhere that you want to be, it's having the cognizance and the emotional intelligence and self-awareness to recognize where you need to be focusing your time and energy, breaking that down into core components of everything that attains your level of success. And so if your desire is to become the CEO of a nonprofit, if your desire is to become a senior vice president at the bank, at the financial institution, at whatever the organization is that you're at right now, it's thinking of all of the core components of how you need to show up, both in terms of your functional skills, your personality, the goals that you need to set, the relationships that you need to build. So having both a current state and an aspirational state. I touched on this a little bit earlier about having a 5-year plan. It's something that I did in the summer of 2016 that helped me to get so much further along the path of where I wanted to be as a writer, as a family man, to establish myself more professionally and personally. And so striking that balance of both present and aspirational commitment, putting it in writing, speaking it over your life, having an accountability partner, could be a coach, could be someone that you deeply trust that's going to help you to get to more of those aspirational goals. Being willing to set big goals that are things that you truly believe in your heart that you can achieve, that strike the balance of passion, talent, skill, and experience. Having that future forward mindset of optimism is what is going to allow you to really get there. So I kind of come back to that C.S. Lewis quote, and that's how I'd like to finish this episode. But I ask you to make it customizable to where you are. And his quote was, "Children are not a distraction from more important work. They are the most important work." And I can tell you with confidence that my own children have become the most important part of my life. My family is what is most important to me. And because of that, so much of what I do professionally and personally revolves around being that provider and supporter to them. It's made me a better father, it's made me a better husband, but it's made me a better human being in giving back to my community, but also it's made me a better professional, giving the maximum effort that I can to my clients to help them. So think about all the things that are most important to you. about trying to make a difference in the world, about being the best that you can at your job and working hard and outperforming others, showing up every day that you can with a positive attitude. Think about what's required to deliver that effort, and that's really how you get to become a champion, is by knowing what's most important, giving it everything that you have, doing the very best that you can every day to put all the places, the people, the things, all of that is most important from a priority standpoint and from a people standpoint, putting that at the center of your life, using that as a starburst to take you out, to be able to touch people as positively as you can, to make as great of an impact as you can, and to keep that front and center every day. Begin every day reviewing those most important people, those most important things, most important priorities, and the goals that you're seeking to accomplish. And if you do that, and you continue to build a plan to get there, you're going to perform at your best. You're going to become a champion, and you will always be able to keep what is most important at the center of your life. And you'll be living a truly successful, happy, and fulfilling life. Thank you for checking out episode 5 here of Becoming a Champion. Check out more here on my YouTube channel. This is Christopher D. Connors. Thank you for joining.